Hey, Tay.
Hey, Sketch. So we just watched The Prince Returns, and let me give you a quick summary of what just happened. But the title is enigmatic of what happened in the whole episode. Healing's in trouble. Dorsey's down for the count, fighting the chimeras on his last limb, and Healing gets a couple of heroes coming in. So first we get Mitsumata, the snake, to save him from the chimeras, but then Gigan, the big ogre green guy, comes in to cause trouble again. The chimeras aren't down and out, but they're still there. Gigan gets the better of Dorsey once again. It looks like it's all over for both Healing, the crew, and Bojji pops up, takes out Gigan in one fell swoop. He's down, he's out, he's smacked. Bojji then goes to show his two amazing character traits. So the first one we just saw was obviously his strength, but the second one is his kindness. The first thing he asks Healing to do is in a reunion, it's to save everyone around them, to heal Mitsumata, to heal the chimeras. But before he can even ask about the chimeras, Gigan gets right back up, and he confronts Bojji once again. See, he's about to swing on Bojji where all of a sudden, Bojji stabs his hammer and it breaks. Gigan's very confused on how this happens, to the point where he just becomes subservient to Bojji. This leads us to the next scene where Healing finally sees who Bojji has become and acknowledges his strength. Now they're facing the castle, on to the next part of their journey.
Alright, that's a pretty good summary, Tay. Before we get to the rest of the episode, remember to smash that subscribe button.
The first scene that I really wanted to talk about was Healing goes back to save Dorsey. Dorsey's holding off the chimeras, and this is 3 times now that he has told her to run away, to get out of here. And with Dorsey, instead of doing that, she goes back and saves her comrades, showing that she's not only a great leader, but she's in it to be part of the team. She's not just there as a figurehead. She is there to help everyone and help everyone succeed. Was there any scenes that you liked or disliked?
So, the part where Bojji smashes the hammer is amazing. That being said, the actual swing of the hammer felt a little flat to me. There wasn't much energy into the actual swing animation of itself. That I felt a little bit weak.
I saw it was like a PNG slideshow kind of deal, where you saw his arm, you saw it bent to 90 degrees, and then you get a zoom into the hammer scene. That brings up the hammer scene, which was done amazingly. So from the hammer scene forward, where you don't see Gigan anymore, he's terrible.
Yeah.
For some reason as a creature to animate, but the hammer itself swinging towards Bojji, and Bojji stabbing it, it's shattered into a million pieces. You see the contact point, you see how Bojji does it. It's amazing. It's a great fixing up scene, and that looked great. The scene right after was particularly amazing as well, where Bojji finally gets to reunite. You want to highlight that?
Healing and Bojji finally get a hug after all of the tremendous horrors they've both been through. Healing was almost assassinated, and then she has her entire kingdom being taken over by underworld criminals. Bojji got thrown into a hole, was almost killed repeatedly. Then they finally got to reunite, they finally hug. Bojji recalls all the times Healing has taken care of her. It's a really great scene. We get a couple of flashbacks of what kind of person Bojji is, but there was something in this scene that you particularly didn't like.
It was Daida in this scene. After we spent 3-4 episodes learning about Daida in his own mind, in that void, and about how he's not as bad as people make him out to be, or how we saw him as the audience, this scene goes out of its way to undercut all that character development, showing that Daida was an asshole by literally just pushing Bojji to the ground for no reason and telling him to not do his own thing because he's just going to get in everyone's way.
For context, this is a flashback scene where there's a fire in the village, and Bojji's trying to help put out the fire with little cups of water. Then Daida comes in with a massive bucket.
Daida obviously is helping more, but that doesn't mean Bojji's not trying to make a contribution. That's all he can lift, to be honest, as just a cup of water. We, the audience, go, oh, look at Bojji trying to be helpful, and Daida coming in with the big splash, because he is the bigger brother despite being younger. The only reason I find this scene particularly bad is because they could have taken it in a different route and still gotten the same effect. They could have had Daida be not in pure intentional asshole, saving his character, but still be a jerk. He comes in with that bucket of water, doesn't see Bojji, knocks him over, throws the water to put out the fire, and instead of apologizing, saying, Bojji, you need to get out of the way, we're trying to stop the fire here, it would still have that same effect. Wouldn't you agree?
It would have the same effect without being mean-spirited, because we know after these past couple of episodes, we know that Daida actually does care for Bojji, and he doesn't hate him.
This scene does undercut his character, but another scene that undercuts a character, do you want to elaborate on that one?
Oh boy, Oaken, the Sword King of the Underworld, hyped up to be one of the greatest threats to the kingdom, is taken out in a single attack.
He's Bojji's natural enemy, so we're like, oh, there's gotta be a matchup.
Well, there isn't. As it turns out, Daisha does come. He spends the entirety of his time in the shadows, hiding from Oaken. He reports to Despa, and I think I got their names reversed, but whatever, I'm continuing on.
Yeah.
He reports back to the
Yeah.
Underworld King.
He reports to Daisha, and Daisha shoots down a lightning bolt.
Then a single lightning bolt takes down Oaken, in which Despa immediately then just wraps him up, and we're done.
Ties him up, gets him out of there. Talks about his, I don't think he said brother, but his familial, like their family for sure. And that he really changed after he got his immortality. It's not explained how he got his immortality, but it shows that he used to be a kind-hearted. He wore the same armor as the captain soldier. Like he wanted to make the Knights Guard like this. It seems that Despa and Daisha took over from where he left off. Is what I'm guessing at. I'm not really sure. But that lightning bolt, it shows Daisha's power.
It does show Dash's power, but one hit, really? It just rubs me the wrong way. Prediction time. We see King Boss actually hear healing. He breaks himself out, but he doesn't come out. Do you have any ideas on that, Tay?
He breaks the ropes, breaks the jail cell, so he could have done it at any times. He decides to walk towards the cage, remembers Moranjo, and then sits back down. I just want to make sure we got context. I feel like there's obviously a reason that we're gonna find out. I think the reason is that he feels indebted to Moranjo. It feels more like the way she's been working with everyone. What would you think is the reason?
It has to do with potentially some loyalties or a debt owed to Moranjo that Boss has. So maybe that's why he didn't help.
So we're both thinking indebtedness, but is there any other guesses that you would give? Maybe that love triangle theory is closer than we think?
It could be that love triangle thing. Him and Moranjo do seem to be very close.
Speaking of Moranjo and enemies, she makes a lot of those. Why do you think Desha wants her dead?
We know that Oaken is immortal now, and that when someone becomes immortal, the first thing they lose is their soul. But my question is that how did Oaken become immortal? I think Moranjo has something to do with Oaken's immortality. That's why Despa and Deshka dislike Moranjo, and that's why the Underworld King wants to take down Moranjo. Because he granted Oaken's immortality, and in turn took away his soul.
I think the soul warps because you have nothing to strive for. I don't think she took it away necessarily.
Well, in a sense, she took away what
His
made
humanity.
Yeah, his humanity.
Right. I don't know, maybe something more personal. Maybe the reason Desha has an ugly face is because of Moranjo.
Oh,
Despa brings it up that this is one of the things that his brother hates him for.
You know what? Maybe she just doesn't like his face. That's why.
No, she's the one that messed up his face.
Oh. Oh man, speaking of ugly faces, Kage. So, Healing apparently thinks Kage just has an ugly face and dislikes him. I'm being somewhat facetious. But Healing says that Kage gives off an evil aura. What are your thoughts on that, Tay?
So there's two obvious answers. One is he looks like a black blob, but Healing seems to have sensory abilities that are above just appearance. She sensed Moranjo in the mirror in her bedroom before Moranjo did anything. It's just a mirror at that point. She's not showing herself at the mirror when Healing's like, get this mirror out of here. So I'm assuming she can sense something from Kage, and it's the curse that he has. So the curse seems like it makes everyone hate you, but in the same sense, also maybe warps his body from what Desha said. But it doesn't seem like it makes people hate you, but more like Horcruxes in Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
I've yet to read Harry Potter, so I'll just agree with you.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, you're right. I don't know how you're right, but you are.
Speaking of shadows, Despa, we've only seen him come back beaten up and hiding in the shadows. Do you think he can actually fight?
I don't think he can actually fight. He hasn't shown any actual combat ability. He's very knowledgeable. He knows how to teach people. He apparently has a special spell where he can talk to the King of the Underworld. That's about it.
He has a walkie-talkie ability and
yeah, he has a walkie-talkie and ropes.
But then he got paid so much to go. I mean, it's a lot. I don't know how much money he's worth in this world.
I mean, Prince, how much need for money do you think he has?
You think that's more of his allowance rather than his need?
Let's stop him from overindulging. Potentially.
It's possible, but from what I can see, it doesn't seem like Despa can fight.
It doesn't really seem. It's a lot of boasting with no actual ability.
Well, thanks for listening to us. Have a good day.
Laters.